Hey everybody, welcome back to the Black and Rowdy Show. I'm your host, Black and Rowdy. Nice to see all of you. Welcome to 2021. It should be an interesting year. Are you getting vaccinated? What's happening, right? Biden's going to be president in less than a week, I think. So, yeah, a lot of good things to look forward to. But we're going to be talking about a video that we're going to watch all together, and we're just going to comment on it and give us your feedback too in the chat below. The video is essentially this guy who is giving advice to this woman, and I'm going to just leave it there, and we're just going to kind of pick it apart, talk about it, all that jazz. So please I want to introduce my guests. Brian, Arian, and Tanya. Go ahead and come off mute. Put your video. Yeah. Hello.
Hello, everybody.
Oh, I don't know what happened to Brian.
Hello. How are you?
Hello. Thank you all for coming. I'm going to go ahead and pull up my screen so we can watch this video together. So as we watch this video, just put yourself on mute. Leave your video on, please, but put yourself on mute so people can just hear what he has to say, because it's interesting. I have my thoughts about it, but you're going to hear it later. So let's go ahead and watch, and then we'll go from there.
Can you get those documents on my desk by 4?
I'll get them there by 3:30.
Great.
That's all right.
I've never been one for waiting. And thanks to Excel Track, I never have to spend more time and money learning things I already knew. So I can earn my degree faster. I like faster.
Get ahead faster with Excel Track. Purdue University Global.
Sorry.
I honestly want a six-figure guy, is what I'm realizing.
And ma'am, and that's my point. You ladies all feel like, listen, you ladies all feel like you're the exception to the rule. And then when someone like myself comes along and gives you a dose of reality, instead of just accepting it, it's like, yeah, but I'm special. You don't know any men on this level that are not your father, that aren't related to you. That means you don't know these men. You don't know where to go get them. You don't know what they want. But you're still saying, pick me. They don't want mid-30-year-old baby mamas. I'm trying to be polite, man.
So let me give you some context. So for those who are watching and that are coming in, they're like, I don't know what's going on. So what's happening is this woman has just asked him advice, right? She wants her ideal man. Her ideal man makes 6 figures. He's going to take care of her, that kind of thing. And he's just giving her advice about like, hey, these guys don't want you, right? So just giving some context, and then we'll go ahead and continue.
Man, but they don't want those.
Can I ask you a question?
Did you hear what I said?
Yes.
Why is that so? Okay, go ahead.
Why is it so what?
Go ahead.
From my point of view, I feel like I get what you're saying. They do have better options, but also those better options are younger girls. Those younger girls don't necessarily 20-year-olds are not necessarily attracted to 45-year-olds.
Bullshit. I'm 51 and I can't beat them off with a stick. That's another one of you lies. No, younger women are attracted to older men. What are you talking about?
So can you see me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. So do you feel like a woman like me?
Uh-huh. What would you rank yourself on a scale from 1 to 10? You cannot use 7.
Would I rate myself?
Just your face.
My face when I wake up, 5, but when I put myself together, 6.
Okay. And how tall are you?
5'5".
Dress size.
I'm sorry?
Your dress size.
A 3.
Okay. So that makes you, if you give yourself a 5, that's average.
Yes.
So average looking women tend not to get high earning men. They tend to get average men.
So
stop right there. Stop right there. Breathe and digest. You're 35 years old and you can look around and see the world. You don't tend to see higher earning men with average looking women off rip. If you do see them, they got their average looking woman when they were both really young and he built his way up. But a man earning the kind of money you're talking about does not go for an average looking woman.
I mean, my body is not average, so
But
I
ma'am, you please don't make me say it.
say what? I really just wanted some advice. I love your
I'm
show.
giving you advice, but you're not taking it. The
I'm
advice is, ma'am, you're average looking at best.
All right, I'm going to stop it right there. And I want us to kind of digest what we just saw. You know, I don't know. I guess I feel like there's a lot of different feelings there. I think, like, as a woman, I never want to feel like I need to depend on a man on any level, right? And I feel like she's just not, she would not be, I would not go to him for advice regarding this because to me, I'm not going to try and look a certain way for some guy to pick me up like I'm some, some merchandise in a store. No, I can make that money. Thank you. Like I'm gonna make that money on my own. I don't need you, right? So that's just how I see the situation. So I'm a little alarmed that she's thinking this at 35, right? Like what's prompting her to feel like she needs a man to take care of her? But let's go with your initial thoughts. Anybody, you can just jump in.
So, first of all, you better than me for sitting on that video for however long you did with that dude. Mm-hmm. And what are your credentials to tell me what's best for me or not? First of all, I felt like she lowballed herself.
Yeah.
Off jump because he started off with saying, and don't say you're a 7. So you automatically, as a woman, as that particular woman, not all women, decided to lowball yourself. It's like you already was taking in and receiving his weird energy. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I'm not sitting here and saying that, because when I think of how a woman should rate themselves, it should never really be purely on looks, first and foremost.
Yeah.
How do you feel inside? What do you think about yourself? What is your worth like? But anyways, so
but
that
it was pretty. I'm sorry, but it was pretty clear that he meant as looks. Rate yourself as far as looks. I think that was pretty clear. That's what he meant. But go on. I'm sorry. Go on.
No. And at the end of the day, you are right, which is
like in that case, he meant looks. Like in that particular case.
You are right on that. I will say I would have never been on this video.
Yeah. No.
Because I would have had a lot to say.
Well,
and
because
at the end of the day,
you have half a brain.
One, and not to say she doesn't have one, but yeah, agreed. And two, though, my thing is this: you keep saying you're giving her advice. You're not giving her advice.
That's right.
One, you were criticizing her. That's a difference. That's a huge difference. Two, your body language, bro. Your body language, like. If she's coming, it should be a tit for tat, a quid pro quo. So she's asking you for advice, right? So when she's listening to you, she's gonna listen to you, right? So then you should also give her a chance to speak because she is still a human being. You didn't do that. You tapping on the desk. Like I'm done. I would have hung up, but that's just me. I would have, because you're not here to hear me. You're just here to try to prove a point. And like, going back to what I said initially, what are your credentials? And a man like you, come on now. Come on.
And he's in the dark anyway. Like you can't really.
It's creepy. It's weird. What's up with the lighting candle?
That's what I said from jump. I don't know why he has that set up.
The weird little pendulum and the candle. The candle for real is throwing me off because
he looks like it's like the lair of a hood Dracula or something. I don't know. It's like
or a weird fortune teller.
Right, a weird fortune teller. I don't know what was going on in that room. Like. He just doesn't. It's like I don't know his show. I don't watch his show.
I've never heard of him.
I've never heard of him, right? So I don't know what she's talking about. She was like, "Oh, I really love the show and this and that." I'm like, I never even heard of this.
That means you too busy probably looking up YouTube videos. You probably found him on YouTube. And at the end of the day, if you want a 6-figure man, you're not gonna find him in your room. I mean, if he does, that means he's been stalking you and he's in your house. I don't know. That's a burglary.
Yeah.
But like,
and these 6-figure men, like. Okay, like I was talking to a friend about this. I've met guys that have a lot of money, and they're not I'm not trying to be rude, and not everybody, right? I'm gonna be PC about it, but they're dicks. and they're not nice. They're terrible human beings. You know, it's all about them. They don't care about anybody but themselves. So why would I be involved with somebody that don't even give a shit about me, right? Like, why would I even be involved? Like, that's the bottom line. Those are the people. Those are the type of people that I have seen. Not to say everybody is like
right.
that.
I think there are some like that, and I think there are some that are actually decent. But
the ones that I've met are terrible human beings. Like, I met a football player. He was horrible. He was he was just the biggest womanizer you could ever think of. Like, he was a horrible person.
Yo, what team? What team you play for?
Get out of my face, you know. And
Brian said, "What team?"
Go ahead. What? Somebody's talking. Go.
Yeah, what team did he play for? See, now I'm curious. I mean, a football player. Okay.
Like, what was it? It doesn't even matter because as soon as I heard his name and I looked him up, I was like, dude, that's why I never heard of you, bro.
Wow.
Is that like on
third string, fourth? Because that would have hurt his manhood right there. But I was like, yo, I've never seen you. Like, I see you here, but I've never seen you play. Like, what? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So,
I mean, the video, like, you guys have valid points, right? Like, I felt like it wasn't got a little visitor there. It was like,
I know. What's up?
There was there's valid points there, right? A lot of valid points what you guys said, but and this is where I find like, I feel conflicted and I feel awful. Half of me was just like cringing. The other half of me kind of wanted to get up and start applauding. As messed up as that sound, and it's not so much what he was saying with me, it was how he was saying it. You know, because if I didn't see the whole video, but if he would have ended the video with, listen, you want this, that, and the third, because he's basically berating her.
Yeah.
But if he would have framed it as, hey, listen, sweetheart, you have to level yourself up first before you want anybody. If he would have framed it as that, like, get your stuff together and then worry about finding a six-figure guy, then that would have been much more acceptable. But then you just go straight into shitting on somebody. Yeah, it's not going to look good, and it's going to.
I get what you're saying, Brian, because certain parts of it, I don't know about his statistics and where he's doing his research, but certain parts of what he was saying, that part I wasn't even mad at, because some of that is legit. Some, we're not gonna sit here and say the whole thing was, but some of it was legit. But that whole the way he came at her, like it was.
Well,
I
said, if that was me, I would have been like, all right, okay, forget about the looks. What do you do for a living? Where do you live? Right. What's your living situation? What kind of car do you drive? You want a guy with six figures, but you work at Walgreens? It's kind of be like, because in that respect. And I get the feeling that I'm not going to throw shade at this woman, and I don't know what her situation is. I get the feeling that she wasn't making six figures, nor was she probably wasn't even close to making that. So in that respect, as messed up as that sounds, as fucked up as it's going to sound, pardon my French, if you're a woman that's just like an average woman, like the way he said, you're just an average living woman in an average world, living an average life, making an average salary, and you want a guy that's making six figures plus, you better not look average. As messed up as that sounds, but that's not how a lot of these guys, especially guys with money, that got it like that, that's how they're thinking. Like, what is she bringing to the table? You know? Because he was wrong. He was wrong in one respect. Like, all these six-figure men, they're only going to date hot women. That's not true. Because if, pretty sure a six-figure guy will mess around and date a doctor or a lawyer or somebody who has their own business, somebody that could actually build with something, an actual partner, if you will.
Yeah.
Not somebody who's gonna leech off them.
A trophy wife. They just
exactly. Do you want a trophy wife? Do you want to be a sugar daddy, or do you want an actual wife or partner? And what does she want? Does she want an actual husband or a sugar daddy? Because if she wants a sugar daddy, that's not happening. Not like I as messed up as that sounds, like the first thing I thought of was just like, it's messed up. It's a messed up situation. I feel like that, like, it's almost as if she walked into a trap. Like, nobody came out of the interaction looking good, and I felt bad for her. Because it seems that she had low self-esteem, low self-worth. You're seeking validation.
Unfortunately, it did give me that vibe too.
Yeah.
Like from jump, but.
Tanya, did you have anything to add? I saw you go off mute.
Oh no, my daughter started screaming. So. But
excuse me.
Are you gonna play the rest of the video?
No, I'm just gonna play that because I think that's pretty much the gist of it,
Because I believe during the video, she did mention that she did make about that much, and that's the reason why she's asking for one. So she was in a position where she was able to ask for someone that has six figures. And it doesn't matter if he has six figures or not, that's beyond the point. However, if you're a woman and that's what you feel like you deserve, then I don't blame you for asking for that. Hey, I want a man that makes more money than I do. I don't want to have to take care of nobody. First of all, men are supposed to be the man of the household anyway.
Providers.
And they should be good providers. You don't have to be a six-figure man to be a good provider. I mean, but that's what she's asking for. So if she's making six figures, then she should be asking for 7, to be honest with you. Yeah. But however, she's asking for someone that's just like her. And a lot of men don't ask for dime-looking women or these Instagram women half of the time. They want women that, like you said, that have the same thing as they do, or they can provide just as much. Or they actually could bring a quality of life, like they cook, they clean, they could take care of kids. They could do those type of things for their husband while their husband is providing for them. They look for all that. Not all men are just looking at women looks. Now that's what he got confused, because he's just comparing just because she's not the most beautiful woman by
his standards, really.
Right. He wasn't even cute. That's the thing.
Yeah,
I'm gonna say by beauty standards, because at the end of the day, he's going by a standard that is mainstream, and that's not how average women look.
Right.
So
is he though? Is he though? Because the thing is this: she was a size 3. You know what I mean? Like I just feel like she was trying to fit that mold of the main society, right? Like she was trying to fit that, the hair, everything, right? So at that point, he just looked at her looks, not what she was wearing, but her actual face is what he was judging.
And that's another thing too. He's looking at her actual face, but he also brought a child into it. Most men that does have six figures, if you're gonna go ahead and put children in that, most of them have children. Now, he don't know all 6-figure men. So how are you going to sit here and talk about, oh, 6-figure men want this and want that? That's not even a statistic.
That's what I was saying. His statistics
it's not accurate. It's not accurately statistically possible that every man is single and have no kids and they're 45 years old. No, that's not true. Unless you're gay like that man that's just older. I think he's on the other team. That's what I think he is.
Right. Does he make 6-figure? Do we know this host? Does he make?
I'm still stuck on the fact that she said he's gay. Oh,
he gotta be, because they know not all men are in. There's a lot of men that will be interested in her that makes 6 figures. Yeah. That's what he's giving is not even a statistic. He's giving a statistic of men that he might know.
His opinion. Period.
Maybe. Yeah, like you said, it's an opinion. It's not a fact. It's not a statistic. I can't find.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That was not legit.
Like that.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna paraphrase here, but I think it was something he said that had something to do like about. And I'm really paraphrasing because I can't remember exactly how he put it, but like where you be at, who do you be around? He said something that implied that. That would probably be the only thing where I agree that if you're trying to be around people with money, it's just like if you're starting a business, right? Then you need to be around people with a business mindset that are go-getters, I feel the same way when you're looking for a partner to a certain degree. Yeah. You need to get around those circles. Yeah, so I agree with that part. I just don't, but I do think you need to be, because if you're around either know nothing women or know nothing men, then that's all you're going to get is know nothing men or women, right? Mm-hmm. But and also you got to project a certain confidence about yourself. Because there are some, what standards may consider mediocre looking people, but the way they walk into a room, the way they carry themselves, what they got going for themselves, that speaks volumes. That'll draw somebody in without you even saying a word.
And you can that's another thing anything. And you walk in the room confident, strong, people will look.
I was saying that to my sister. I said, it don't matter if you thick, skinny.
It doesn't matter.
If you bald, if you walk into a room and you exude that confidence, it looks like you bring something to the table. You don't even have to look. You can be cockeyed, everything, but you bring something to the table.
Okay, wait a minute, Tanya.
I don't know about cockeyed.
Okay, no, I'm gonna notice that.
Everybody gonna still look at you, though.
I'm gonna notice that, Tanya. I'm gonna notice that.
Everybody's still gonna look at you, though.
There's only one person that made cockeyed work, and that's Biggie Smalls. That's the only person in the history of the world that can make being cockeyed work, and that's Biggie.
It's true. Even if you cockeyed, people still gonna look at you because you cockeyed. Right. However, if you bringing that confidence, regardless if you like 300 pounds, but you're a sexy looking woman, you got nice clothes on, you have your hair done, you just beautiful. You're beautiful inside and out.
Right.
people are going to gravitate to that.
Right. And
exactly.
So it don't have to be just, she just 3, she a size 3, she got long hair, you know, or whatever.
Yeah.
She can be the nastiest person in the room and nobody would want to be around her.
That's so true.
But I think he was speaking from his experience and the people that he surrounds himself. Well, no. In my experience, I do find guys who, not that I know many of them, but guys that, you know, got nice cars, dress nice, have a nice place, make a little money. A lot of times, I would say a lot of times they're pretty shallow. And I think that's what he was going off of. Like, hey, listen, the guys that you're interested in are most likely going to be very shallow, you know?
That's a good point.
You know,
if you're dealing with shallow men or women, then yeah.
Well, and I think me personally, this is not to get too metaphysical or whatever, or existential, but I do believe that men in general are more shallow than women when it comes to looks, at least.
I agree.
That's just me. So I think he was going off of that, like, hey, no guy has special contact lenses that can see into your soul, into your personality, and know you have a good heart. So you have to catch their eye in a way.
And it's confidence. That's what I'm saying.
Confidence is part of it. Confidence is a huge part of it.
A lot of women that have confidence and the look. Is the hook. But they don't always.
It really is. Because even if you got 10 bad women in a room and only one of them is exuding confidence, the guys are naturally, whether they grab one of those beautiful women that don't got nothing going on, they still gonna be looking at the one that's confident.
Well, there's confidence, there's real confidence, and then there's that perceived confidence, right?
Yeah, but I'm talking about real confidence. But
yeah, that's the key, because those 10 bad women could be confident, but they're only confident because dudes are gassing her up. That's not real confidence. That's BS.
No, not at all.
Yeah. You know?
Makes sense.
You know, but
it's a huge difference.
But to your point, Tanya's point, it was just more about, even in the beginning of the video, you could just, her body language and her facial expression.
To me, it was down. It was down. It was, let me make sure I look okay. Let me check myself. It was real. Some things were obvious and some things were subtle. But that's why to me, and I don't know her, and I could be completely wrong, but that's what was giving me that impression about her. Because I also feel like this, whether it's man or woman, and I'm gonna still talk about the confidence. If your confidence is where it needs to be at, and that nobody can tell you where your confidence personally needs to be at, you learn it on your own, okay? Yeah. But if your confidence is on point, he would have never felt like he can come to you like that. There is no way that there is a certain, like, in other words, my body language to a certain extent is gonna tell you how you need to respect me and approach me. And it doesn't necessarily mean that I need to be an ass to show you that, not necessarily. But if my body language, if my body language is down, and if I'm like just feeling, if I make it come off frumpy, like the wrong kind of guy with the wrong kind of mentality and lacks maturity, he gonna go for that. He gonna attack that all the way through. Not a real me.
I agree. Yeah, right. I agree with that.
They'll pounce on you.
Well, I'll go one further. The simple fact that she even went on that as a man, as a guy, that's a turnoff. Like, the fact that you even went to this guy for advice in a public space, to me, like, let's say, like, if I was somebody who was talking to her online or whatever, and I saw that, and I'm like, oh my God, like, why is she doing this? Like, I would just all of a sudden, I'd be like, you know what? Nah, maybe she's not the one for me. If she's willing to subject herself to that, I don't know.
True. You might feel that way, but another
that's me. That's me.
Of that, because he sees that he can take advantage of her. So he sees that she's already has low self-esteem. I could take advantage of that all day. She makes a lot of money. I can just get, I can
tell her what she needs to hear. I'll butter her up a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Mess over her. Like, I can get her to do whatever I want her to do, because she doesn't have that confidence in herself to believe that she deserves what she deserves. But then we only saw a part of that picture, so we didn't get the chance to see it at the beginning when they first started talking.
Yeah.
It just, he might have been turning her down all the way through, and she just kind of gave up and was like.
Yeah, that's highly possible too. Which is why, if it was me, but then if it was me, I wouldn't be there. I would have already hung up on him. Like, we're not doing that.
Yeah.
Because there's a certain way, like, I'm always a fan of getting criticism. And in the weirdest way I put it, I always sometimes will say, I would rather brutal criticism than the sugarcoat stuff for me. However, even in brutal criticism, there is a way you can approach people. I can tell you about yourself without tearing you down. You know what I mean? I can give you a teachable moment without taking away your self-esteem damn near. You know what I mean? There's ways to approach that. And to me, his whole body language, the way he perceives himself, turn off already. Yeah. And you're not attractive, and you hidden by this shroud of darkness. Yeah, and first of all, the whole house probably dirty.
Light out of here. And second of all, I'm gonna need you to do something about that outfit you got on.
That too. And I feel like you hiding something already because you got this interesting blue purple light going on. You in the corner of a room or a house. How do I know you even own that house? How I know you that's not your roommate's house and you using that section?
Right.
So, I don't know. I like for real. And then I'm taking advice from you, and I've never heard of you. But even if you were well known and you still talk like that, would not work for me. Just because you well known don't mean you have all the knowledge in the world. We're all still human beings. We all still have flaws and we all still make mistakes. So what makes you the self-made guru that you're trying to claim you are by your actions? I'm not saying he said it by his words, but you over here trying to give her advice, and what do you got going on in your life?
I mean, well, it is entertaining. I mean, at the bare minimum, that clip was entertaining. I mean, if it's for the right reasons or the wrong reasons, another story. But I mean, and also you don't know. Maybe people go to him for clout. You know, they can see like, oh, I was on this thing on this famous guy's thing. You can look me up. You know, people do that. They just go. They don't care. They don't care about embarrassing themselves even for a little bit.
I mean, I believe you on that. That's why reality shows exist. So I'm with you on that. I agree. A lot of people would do things for clout unnecessarily.
And I got a lot of views, so I can imagine how many minutes.
Yeah, I think it went viral or something.
Is it on
No,
YouTube?
they were talking about on the Breakfast Club. They're talking about on the Breakfast Club. It was crazy. Yeah.
So she got what she wanted.
And so did he.
I mean, that's the funny part. She probably has dudes hitting her up based off of that.
Exactly.
It's based off of that alone. He's like, "Don't worry, Ma, I'll treat you right, whatever." You know.
Yeah. Trust me, that's what happened. That's what she wanted. You know, it's a good tactic, but for her anyway. But so now that you said that, I'm like, the next question. Well, it's kind of irrelevant, but if she was someone, let's just say, if she was someone that did have a genuine self-esteem issue, you know, and she's coming to you and she's like, how do you think I can get a six-figure guy or woman or whatever the case? What would be your advice that wasn't going to be tearing that person down? Like, give it to me. Like, brief thing. Like, what would you say to that person?
I'm just going to focus on one point. I would ask, who do you hang around? I would ask, who do you hang around? Because I would feel like you would want to be, I would almost explain it just like business, like how I was saying earlier. I would just, because if you're around people that are go-getters, your mindset is eventually, hopefully, your mindset should be a little different. So like, if you're trying to be around people, like if you make good money, then it would be like naturally networking in the proper circles.
Yeah, I agree.
That's just one point, and I can always elaborate, but just to keep it succinct, that would be just one avenue, one aspect. Snippet. Not the only thing, but.
What, anybody else have anything to add to that? Like, what would you say quickly? Like, oh.
I mean, I would say, well, with the caveat that she makes around or about six figures, you know, I'm the wrong person to ask anyways, I'll make six figures, but I would ask, besides the six figures, what are you looking for? Because I feel like if you have the confidence and you're already at a certain level in your life, and if you just focus on the right things, everything else will fall into place. As cliche as that sounds, that's what I would ask. It's like, besides the money, what do you want in a man? Do you want a man who's a Christian? Do you want a man who's going to give you children? Do you want a nice guy? Do you want a macho guy? Do you want a guy who's assertive? Do you want a guy who's more of a simp, or whatever the proper term is? You know, that's what I would ask. What do you want besides the six figures? Because I feel like if she's happy and confident with herself, and she's already making a certain amount of money, I feel like the money thing will take care of itself. And to Arian's point, also, yeah, it depends on who you're hanging around with. You know, if you're working at a hospital making six figures, maybe hang out with the doctors and nurses instead of your ratchet friends. I don't know.
It's true.
Just like
So
everybody's ratchet, okay?
On some level, we all are, yeah. Hey, and I'm proud of who I am, but anyways, but I still get what he's saying though.
Yeah, that's true.
Definitely do.
Yeah, I mean, I would just say, you know, kind of like to Arian and to Brian's point, like, if you want somebody with six figures, you don't necessarily have to be making six figures, but you really have to bring something to the table, kind of like what Arian and Tanya said. You need to bring something to the table, because obviously this person is providing for you. Like, how can you provide for them? Like, not necessarily materialistic stuff, more of like, you know, personality wise, you know, when he takes you out to dinner and you're with his family or his friends, are you just sitting there? You know, are you bringing positivity to the circle? Because that's what you're bringing, right? This is what you have. Even though you don't have the six figures, you could bring other things to the table that can make his and both of your or her both of your lives easier or more enjoyable or whatever the case. So I would just say, yeah, I mean, if that's what you want, but you know, I would kind of dive into the six figures too. Like why six figures?
I would agree.
You know, like why six figures? What are you looking for in life? Like what's something that you feel like you cannot attain if this person is making less than six figures? Because maybe we need to go deeper, right? Maybe we need to go deeper. Maybe it's not about the six figures. Maybe it's security. Maybe she wants.
Well, I'm sorry. How old was she? How old was this woman?
He emphasized 35.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, from my experience, women that are around that age and older, and they're already financially doing well for themselves, they don't. Since I started dating again, they don't really care that much about how much a man makes. You know, I'm getting the vibe that a lot of these, from what my experience, and I can speak from what I've seen and what I've been through, I get the vibe that a lot of these women that, you know, of a certain age and they have a certain income bracket are kind of like, yeah, you know what, I got my own, so I'm just gonna date for happiness now.
And I
that's the vibe I'm getting for a lot of women.
I will agree with that. Just speaking on my sister, because she's an RN, and even from when she was younger, she said when she was younger that she wanted to have a job to where she was financially stable so that she didn't need nothing from nobody. And she went for that. And she has that. So when it comes to dating, that makes it easier for her to not feel like on the financial aspect that I need to rely on you. Oh, you ain't the right kind of guy I'm looking for? Cut. Yeah. And that way she can focus on other qualities other than the money side, because she got that already.
Yeah. Bye.
I mean, like, so I agree, but like,
and then why would you want to rely on somebody?
She ain't even 35 yet. So with that being thank you.
More than that, why would you want to rely on somebody like he can just literally pull the carpet right off your feet?
And then what if something happens that affects his finances?
That's true.
You know what I mean? So then what are you going to do then? Somebody got to be doing something. Like, and this is, and just to kind of segue a little bit into it, and I'm trying to be quick. This is why I personally me, okay? I wouldn't personally just want to be a homemaker. I'm not going to sit here and take my butt to school and get my degrees and all this stuff, and then just be a homemaker. So then what, 15, 20 years down the road, what if something happens to you, and then I'm over here now, got to get back into the job field, or I didn't do something on the side to make sure we were stable as well. Like, that's why
don't get me started on that one. Don't get me started on that one.
I want to make it quick, because that's a whole nother topic. But
I'm
not knocking nobody else that if their life dream is to be Susie homemaker.
I don't really care what people think. So the bottom line is this: like, you got to think ahead. Like, there was this quote from a book that I've been reading, which I got to finish reading because I have an interview with her this Sunday. Okay, so she made a quote in her singleness book. She talks about being single, and she says there's different seasons of singleness. And I thought that was so good.
It's legit, though. It's legit.
About being single, never married. You also can be divorced single. You can also be widowed single. She's like, there's just different seasons, right? And she goes, also, even when you and your husband aren't doing well and you're separated, that's a form of singleness. So it just kind of opens your mind to the whole realm of being single. Like,
right.
The whole point of it is not for it to be a stigma, right? So if you're already on the mindset of anything can happen, I could be single tomorrow. Say you're married, I could be single tomorrow. What am I going to do to set up a success for my family, for my life? So if he gets hit by a car, we're good. You know,
well,
I got the job, we're good to go. Like,
right.
But some people don't have that mindset, right? So.
Well, some people, this is not to get too personal, but I've dated someone like that who were like, their life dream was to be a stay-at-home mom. And the way a lot of people, not all, but in my case, number one, a lot of it is learned behavior. Like, that's all they know. That's all that's drilled into them from a young age. Just find you a man to take care of you. Find you a man to take care of you. Number two, to your point, what if he gets hit by a car? A lot of people, not just women, but a lot of people, if you married as a come up, you know, or if he gets hit by a car, oh, that sucks. But you know what? I get half his shit because I'm his widow. You know, we get divorced, I get half his shit. We got kids, even better. I get a check every month or whatever. You know, it's like securing a bag to them.
You're right on some level. But
not yet.
Life, yeah. That's the problem. They're short-term thinkers, because you got to think of the long term. $100,000 is not a lot.
And then if you got 3, 4, 5 kids,
$100,000 for life insurance.
But that's
not to sustain you for your entire life.
But that's only speaking on the ones who were smart enough to get life insurance. Mm-hmm. What if they didn't get life insurance? What if their job is barely paying them check to check? What if, it could be a number of factors. So that's why for me, I always felt like, look, I need to have my own income.
Yeah.
Regardless. It has nothing to do with me saying that the person couldn't take care of me. And not only that, I view it as a partnership regardless. So why should I feel like, don't get me wrong, love on me, take care of me, do what you want. I will accept it gladly, because I'm also the type that will do the same for you. So I get bored easily. I can't just sit and not do something. Like, not allow my mind, my skills to go to work. And then why not make money?
Right. Well, there's two things for me. Number one, I don't mind if a woman wants to be a stay-at-home mom. I really don't care. But my thing is this: if there's no kids, or if the kids are older, what are you doing? I don't want to Peggy Bundy you sitting on the couch all day eating bonbons. You got to do something with your life.
All right, Peggy Bundy.
But, but number two, to Arian's point, I think a lot of it is just, I wouldn't even call it feminism or whatever. I would just call it reality. The reality situation is 2021. We live in America. I live in New York City. You cannot raise a family on $50,000, $60,000, $70,000. Even $100,000. If you got 3 kids and a mortgage and a car note, that's nothing.
Yeah.
So for me, when I hear a lot of these women, I want a man to take care of you. Are you living a reality? What reality are you living in? Because it's not 1995 anymore. You can't raise somebody you can't live comfortably on 6 figures with a full family. Like, what if I got to take care of my mom, or you got to take care of your mom? That's
exactly.
Like, you need like
what if families?
It's nothing. It's nothing.
Yeah, it's so true.
Yeah.
Now it's like, now you got to bring in your mom in the house, and you got to take care of her. You got to hire a full-time nurse. It's just,
pandemics happen. People lose their jobs.
Why was I just speaking that, Brian? I was just about to say that. I was like, a whole pandemic is currently still going on. That's why I say, like, those finances can be going in a hot second if you didn't plan accordingly. And I'm not saying, oh, you sit here and you got literally a whole pandemic fund. We're not saying that. You can't intentionally plan for that. But just know that you got to think about anything can happen.
Anything can happen. Yeah, like, for instance, I was just telling my dad we were talking about this, and he was like, oh yeah, the water heater cost $500, or I forgot, something cost like an outrageous amount. And I'm like, so if the water heater goes out, like, he's like, you just have to save for it. You just got to already have that money ready to go.
Yeah.
Like, it was just a no-brainer to him, right? You know what I mean? And for certain people, not me, because I think ahead. I'm like, okay, what if something happens? But yeah, like, just already have that money set aside. You already know that's gonna happen. Oh, I'm sorry, it wasn't a water heater. It was electric car. Electric car battery is like $1,000, like something outrageous, because he wants to go green. And he's like, well, that battery goes out, you got to pay $1,000. And I'm like,
it's not cheap.
It's not that big a deal. Like, the whole point of it is to go green. Like, you just got to save and make sure you have that aside. I was like, wow, like, people don't think like that, right?
Imagine how many people that this last year that had to, like you said, that was homemakers and things like that, and their husband had certain type of jobs, and they had to be laid off, and their money.
That's what. So touching back on the pandemic, agreed. Like,
they learned the hard way that savings is important.
Now they got to live off, and that's the same people that was making fun of other people that was trying to get assistance and things like that. Now they have to figure out how to get assistance.
Yeah.
And think of find another job. And usually the job that they do find is not as much as they
nowhere near where they was making before.
So now you have to humble yourself.
That's right. But anyways, we're getting off a topic, but we could go on and on about everything. But the bottom line is, the lady, she came in for advice. She, I feel like, to be honest with you, after watching that video the second time, I feel like she just went on for attention. Like, she doesn't have so low self-esteem at all. She just wanted that attention so she could get the likes on the Instagram, the likes on the Facebook. You know, I feel like
that's a possibility. Yeah.
Because even when he was speaking, she looked down and she was like smiling, like she was like
she was joking around, like
something. It didn't seem like she was present. So I was like, nah, this is some kind of a.
And they could have had, like, to add what you were saying, because I was thinking this earlier, but just add to what you're saying, they could have had a pre-conversation. Like, okay, this is how it's gonna go. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
I mean, because honestly, that's how I feel about reality shows. I feel like people, okay, we gonna always have an argument, we gonna always have a fight because that brings in the drama. Blah blah blah. I wonder if she was potentially thinking along the same lines.
That's what I'm thinking, but who knows? It was just fun to kind of chit chat about it. But thank you all for coming. It was fun. As always, thank you, Tanya. Thank you, Arian. Thank you, Brian, as always, for joining and
welcome.
chatting about life. We'll see you next time. Bye.